actually kind of small for a wheel bug. Or assassin bug is a assassin beetle. Just for reference sake, you shouldn't do what I'm doing, but I do acknowledge it is kind of funny. Basically, with everything kind of away and without having any kind of pump, I have just rigged everything to basically run out to funnel with random hoses to then into a tub that I will then use funnel to put into other like tub thing. And then I will basically throw that in my heater because it's already degraded fuel and throw a little bit of diesel on so it doesn't actually burn the thing completely down. And I'll have actually free gas for the heater because it's starting to get cold even though it's not that cold today. Yay! Yes. I'll be really upset if I find like a giant hole in the tank that only happens when you tip it over this much and it pukes underneath this part a bunch. It's working pretty well though. We're gonna check to see what's going on. Wow, it actually worked perfectly. I'm impressed myself. Looks like Cocoa Puffs. Garbage. Any of that shiny area is what actual weld penetrated onto the car. That's disgusting. Not that I did much better, but then again, the guy who was having me work on this car decided to not pay me for months, so he gets good enough to where he can haul off his garbage car to finish working on it. Yeah. Bye. Oh yeah, I have a hook hand now. I can barely grab stuff. Bye. Ow. So yeah, no more headlight that was gonna catch on fire anymore. So feel a little safer with them on that in it. And took like 1.5 inches of preload out of the rear spring, so it actually has suspension movement now. Safety. Yeah, I gotta make this into a Crosley prop ride for a customer. It's a silly idea, but rather than drop the exhaust and fight to get this dropped down enough to get around the gas tank and all that, what if I just do the like outer bolt that's holding the front and rear like link, and then do that to the other side, and then just shuffle out below? Genius. I'd say it's a lot cleaner. I got 2 test wires from the fan for hunting down future fan related issues, but for now, way cleaner. I am a genius. So, got a refresher on like how I use my little torch thing. We finally got that stupid part of the. My friend couldn't find parts of it. Just look up Camry. It's literally what's Solar's 2-door Camry. So, anyways, this is literally starting to move the bolt out with giant 5-pounder. Is this 10? I think it's a 5-pound sledge. 3-pound sledge. Oh, yeah, anyways. So, yeah, this is doing the trick. We're getting progress. I'm so happy. It's been 5 minutes, oh, about 4, about going on 5. Oop, wrong way. It's still smoldering. How hot did I have that thing? But yes, it's awesome. So, they got some cool Christmas lights going on, and I brought my torque wrench with me so I can try and get my steering wheel aligned, since I haven't had a chance to yet. Give me a sec. Come on. There, 16 pounds. Should be safe enough. So yeah, waiting on friends show up, and I might get a cool pic of this thing under the blue light. Check out the spider. He's huge. From what I can tell, it's a wolf spider, but I've never seen one genuinely that big before. Look at that. So this is one of the times where I won't be scared of a spider, but like genuinely, he's probably like 2 inches around. Crazy. Almost there. We got about, let me see through the camera, 368 more miles to go, and then I put 6,000 miles on this car this year. And here's a roundabout. Whee! I still gotta align my steering wheel, so it's a little off. Feels good, even though it's like 30 degrees out, but at least I got here, so it's a good day. Alright, more garage stuff. I have already taken out the HVAC thing from the old Miata dash, and funny enough, the dash is truly like wider than the whole car. So, anyways, this basically just need that little thing right there to control my fan speed for my like heater thing I installed on the car, and the dash is actually okay. I always thought this thing was beat up way more than it is, so I might just clean it up a little bit and like just post it up on Marketplace and see what happens. So, might be a free $100, who knows? But update on the car stuff. And Dad gives me a hard time about being overkill with how I get the door latch. Can't do this with one hand. There we go. Okay, get in there. Yes. Anyhow. We have got the drive shaft in the car. It's out of the same 68, 67, something of that year, like Ford F-100, basically where we got the rear axle from. And yeah, turned it up, got the U-joint thing. That was a combination. It was a pain to find because that's, well, obviously like Chevy Power Glide, like yoke into, well, actually it's a newer yoke than the Power Glide. So it's out of like a late 70s Malibu or something, because it's got these little holes where GM was trying to be cheapskates and just injected like hot plastic to melt in and be the set cap thing for the U-joint. But anyways, we got all that figured out. Shortened up drive shaft is bolted into the axle, and as like Christmas thing, friend Jason with the like burnout El Camino came by, and for stickers, like traded him, I got a gas tank. It's perfect. So I can actually like mock that up after one last thing. I'm sorry, trying to get my bearings here. I kind of figured out a good, better way to explain it. So this is our lower link, kind of like how we did the front, and it made me think about it. I could just weld on tabs from this actual wishbone, and it'd be the lowest way and further out from where the axle's at, for me to have more room for up and down travel of the shock, while I threw like a bar across to then be my upper shock mount. Since now that I've got my gas tank here, I can actually show it off and have more than enough room for the shocks to basically lay a little bit like this way from one side of the car and this way from the other, while getting me at the most amount like width, like distance between the two for stability, since we're not going to run sway bars on the front or back of this thing. So yeah, just really cool stuff. I just finally had the motivation to get in the garage and work on some other cool stuff anymore. So finish up the HVAC thing on the Crosley and get the wiring for the most part done, and then maybe rear shock stuff so we can actually make a floor. I am in vertical cam, but yeah, we've cut and welded, and then I threw on some paint that somewhat matched, and the only people who judge me for this is the people who know this is going to be up under the cowl where you never see it. So go ahead, judge me for my poorly ground welding and stuff. So yes, this goes back in the car, and now it's swept a whole bunch of degrees. Now I can have full range of like brake pedal before this bombs out against like the firewall. Cool. Oh, not seeing any leak with the whole fueling setup. About 180 miles away from 6,000 on it. Figure we might get a cool scenic pic after the other junkyard I'm stopping at today. It's not much, but hi. I'm checking on a friend's car again while they're super far away in Florida because they don't like Indiana. I can understand. So, putting the battery charger in this thing, checking over their house while they're gone, trying to figure out where the heck their hood latch thing is. Oh wow. Cool. Sounds pretty good. Not really smelling any fuel. This is a first run that we finally got the X4 with the new program on it, so has the timing cranked a little bit, set for 93 octane. This is with the PI head swap on the non-PI block, and should be safe up to 6 grand that we have the red line set to at the moment. Realistically, it's safe to 7,500, I believe, because we've done some oil like supporting mods just with more capacity in a Mustang GT, or not GT, I'm sorry, but basically Cobra R like oil pickup, so it's got more capacity to pick up more, or flow I should say more. And then we did a like machine oil pump gear, and that's about it. Was it BBK intake, stock intake size, and there was one other thing with the exhaust that we did, but it's at least got like a mid like X pipe that we put on, so should flow a little more. And so far it's sounding minty. There we go. Had to jack up the A because my coolant like pan thing is giant and it wouldn't fit under the car. But we've got this basically cracked open. There's a little bleeder, and I have a way of basically filtering out from what I didn't really clean out for the cross member here for the coolant to go back in. After you drain it from here down to hopefully around there, like to that height, so we don't puke a whole bunch of coolant. Because I got to basically unhook that, run it through the firewall with the hole I've drilled now with the rubber grommet I've made, and we can finally get our little temperature thing mounted up. Oh yeah, also was like welding steering stuff and whatever else I was feeling like. But we got a little ground strap I hooked up too. There's that. I got little mounts in the back middle part of the bodywork frame, so got that going. Found some parts for the shifter linkage stuff we can use from the original Model A brake or mechanical brake system. That's cool. I'm trying to think of anything else nifty at the moment. So yeah, battery tray. I think I've mentioned that. I've got all the wiring for the positive cable ran. So there's like 1 or 2 wires somewhere in here that if you hold them like to the battery, it'll crank over and fire. So it's getting pretty close to being drivable. The main thing is like once I get done with the front stuff I wanted to do, I'm gonna finish up the little middle mounts I'm making on both sides, and we'll get to the rear shocks, and then I can make the floor to mount the gas tank, and then like it's exciting. Well, I have road trip things, so I might as well get up to speed with you guys of what I am doing. So yeah, Crosley is awesome as always, and like I'm gonna be leaving for Florida tomorrow for like a month and a half or so. So yeah, eventually we'll get our little go-kart wagon thing that was rusted out going. Both the heaters suck because BP gas was so trashy, it's got more water than fuel in it, so that's why we have a bottle of heat trying to liquidate the moisture out. We got a freebie gas tank. I think I've got that in another clip. What else? Did some wiring stuff. The alternator is wired to the positive from, or either positive or ground, I forget right now, but it's wired to the same power as what the starter has. So that's good to go. We got a ground strap from it to the frame, and we've got a little fancy ground strap for the block to the frame. Then, what else? Got some other wiring done, catching my breath. Brick pedal things all like finished up and usable. Oh, what else? Shifter is working, and I'll throw in the video my dad like got because it's really cool. But from this angle, you can kind of see what happens now. So yeah.
Low, drive, neutral, reverse, park. Run it once for me, bud. Park.
Park.
Put it in park. Thank you. There's the bracket and the brake light switch. I temporarily have a bulb right here. The vice grip's holding the ground. I reach up, hit the brake pedal.
It's perfect. What else? Got our actual little ignition thing today, so that eventually it's kind of tight right now, but you get the point. So, like, it'll crank and all that cool stuff, and yeah, it's still a little goofy. I'm trying to look through the camera to do that, but that is kind of in place. I'm moving that from where the old ignition used to be, because the bulb here used to just be to like pop out and turn and face to whatever gauge you're trying to see, because back in 29, these cars didn't have backlit gauges, and like they do now. So we got our temp gauge all the way ran through, used a Festiva grommet and sealed up the firewall where I ran it through, and probably might use it for some other wiring stuff we'll feed through there. But eventually probably tach or speedometer gauge here, oil pressure gauge here. I don't think we'll run a fuel gauge actually, because we'll just use a stick attached to that. Once again, thank you, Jason, because awesome little like gas tank thing that we're gonna throw in the back here. And I'm welding up like some original holes in the frame and grind those back, throw some paint on, cut down and glue the pad on that side. And then we're gonna make the other brackets that'll help like tie the middle adjustment of the body over, because the farmost back part of the body is square, the front part is square here, but it's basically shifted around here is like over more on the passenger side. See, I'm talking too much. But yeah, we're getting everything squared up, and I'm starting to get the hardware lined up, because if I'm going to be leaving for Florida tomorrow, I don't have a whole lot of time to get the shocks done. But once they are on, I can finally get rid of the jack stands I've had for like $1.99 from Goodwill for 2 years or so, that off the back of the frame here, so it'll be able to freely move. Because actually it's in park right now, so it's safe to just sit there without anything holding anything in place. So just cool stuff. So yeah, this is probably going to be drivable in the spring at this rate. It's cool to sit back and kind of get the grasp of things. So yeah. Anyways, I'm going to probably either end it here or have some really cool clips to throw in. So I'll see you guys on the other end. Ah, damn it. There we go. Oh, look, I restored it.